It is my life's passion to help people own fewer possessions. That's what this entire channel is devoted to. Because when we own fewer possessions, we're able to direct more resources towards the things that actually matter. Because of that passion, I've always been interested in consumeristic behaviors. Why do we buy more things than we need in the first place? And because of this, I've been fascinated by the work of an 18th century French philosopher named Denis Diderot. He observed a consumeristic behavior that became eventually known as the Diderot Effect. The simplest description is this: the introduction of a new possession into a consumer's existence will often result in spiraling consumption. In other words, the purchase of one new item often leads to the purchase of another and then another. Here's some examples. Just a couple weeks ago, my wife took my daughter school shopping. Her backpack had become worn out, and so they bought a new backpack. When they bought the new backpack, which they needed, they also bought a new lunch bag. Her old lunch bag was okay, but it didn't match the new one, so they bought another item. The introduction of the new item, the backpack, resulted in further consumption, buying something that wasn't necessary. Now, this is just a small example. There are more examples where we can see the Diderot effect all around us. You go and you buy a new shirt, you buy a new dress, and suddenly you have to go buy new shoes or new jewelry or even a new purse to match it. You go buy new couches for the living room, and suddenly the end tables look a little worn, the carpet looks a little shabby, the lamps don't match anymore. You begin replacing the entire living room because you just bought a new couch. You go buy a new car. As a result, you start having to buy the premium gasoline, or maybe you buy the car wash package to keep it clean. You buy a new house. You decide you need to replace your bedroom set, or you need to buy new furnishings to furnish a new room that you just purchased in the new house. In each circumstance, the reality is that we already owned enough. We had enough shoes, we had enough jewelry, we had enough lighting, we had enough carpet, and it all worked fine before, but because something new had been introduced into our lives, we were immediately drawn into the process of spiraling consumption, buying more and more because of that first purchase. Diderot observed and noticed this phenomenon in his own life, eventually saying this: "I was the absolute master of my old things, but I have become a servant to my new ones." In this way, Diderot explains how new consumption can often lead to further consumption. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Number one, because I think it's interesting. I think it's fascinating. I think it's important. But probably more important, once we recognize the behavior and that automatic response to consumerism, we can begin to combat it in our own lives. We can begin to overcome that effect when we realize what it is. So here are some ways to do it. Number one, become aware that it's happening. When you buy something new and you feel drawn to buy something else, just think to yourself, do I really need that next thing? Or am I just falling in to the Diderot effect? Number two, if you are going to make a new purchase, become better about predicting the full cost of that purchase. The dress may be on sale, the new suit may be on sale, but if you're thinking to yourself, I don't have any shoes to match it, or I'm going to want a new briefcase to go with the new suit, start thinking through all the subsequent purchases and factor that into your decision. Number three, avoid buying things that you don't need just for the sake of buying things. Don't buy new things for the living room, for your wardrobe if you don't need them in the first place. Don't allow the Diderot effect to take place by avoiding consumption in the first place. Number 4, please remember that your life is too valuable to waste chasing material possessions. There are better things to do with your money and your time and your energy than buy things that you don't need. Consistently remind yourself of that truth. And number 5, buy things for their usefulness rather than their status. Impress people with the life that you live, not the things that you buy. You don't have to go chase new fashions. You don't have to go chase new products just to impress other people. All of those purchases contribute to the spiraling consumerism that takes place in our lives. The goal, I think, for all of us is to avoid unnecessary consumerism. That we would avoid that for the sake of our home and for the sake of our wallet. Even if your wallet doesn't match your handbag.